Hello everyone, welcome to the new session of Soil Management Part 1. So in this session we are going to study about soil, a very important topic. Okay, so in this session we are going to cover up about the introduction to the soil, then soil genesis, importance of soil, why the soil is so important, right? And also we are going to cover about the physical properties of soil and the chemical properties of soil in this session. So let us start. Soil. The word soil is derived from the Latin word solum. So it has been taken from solum, that is the Latin word, and the name got soil, right? Soil is formed from the weathered material of the parent rock. So there are the rock material, right? And there are some influence on it, and that breaks into pieces. What are those influences? That is heat, that is temperature, fluctuation of temperature, right? Sometimes it is very heat, so it get heated, the rocks get heated very quickly, right? And then there is a downfall of the temperature. Then what happened? There is a sudden fall of temperature, and due to this fluctuation of high and low temperature, there occur cracks in the rocks. Okay, and when there is a crevices in the rock, there is a rain also. Sometimes there is a rain, so these crevices get filled up with water. These crevices get filled up with the water, and when water freeze, when the temperature is low, this water get freezes and increases its volume in the crevices. That causes a pressure on it, and again that rocks breaks up into pieces. So in the next we will see that there are lots of pieces of this rocks, and the same happen with this, and it breaks in later small pieces. So there are some other materials also, like the chemical properties. Some plants like the lichens and the bryophytes grow on it, releases some chemicals. Okay, then they corrode off the small pieces of the soil. So this is actually the weathering of the soil. Weathered material, soil is formed from the weathered material. So all these are what? Small pebbles, small particles corroded from these pebbles. Later this is called weathered material. Actually, weathered material. So it is started from the rock, right, and reaches to this form, and later it forms soil, right? So this is the parent rock. We will study this in detail, but here I'm just trying to explain this particular line. Soil is formed from the weathered material of the parent rock. So it contains minerals, organic matter, water and air in the various proportion. When the soil is there, so it contains minerals. Soil particles contain a lot of minerals in it. They are also contain the organic material. Organic material comes from where? The dead and decaying material, the dead and decaying plants and animals get mixed up with the soil, and they become the organic matter in the soil, right? Water is also there and air is also there. So the soil particles, in between the soil particles, water is also there and air is also there. So they vary in the different proportion. These things vary in the different proportion, and it depends upon soil to soil, types of soil. So these elements serve as nutrients to plants. So minerals, organic matter, water, air, all provide nutrients to the plants. Hence soil serve as a medium for growing plants. So this is very important. Soil is very important for growing plants. Okay, soil may be defined as a dynamic natural body developed as a result of pedogenic process. Pedogenic process, that is the weathering of rock. That is called pedogenic process that take place during and after the weathering of rock, in which plants and other forms of life grow. So once the soil is formed, okay, different plants grow on it, and every time there is a change in the soil composition. Okay, so all these things comes in the pedogenic process of the soil. Joef defined soil as a natural body consisting of minerals and organic constituents differentiated into horizons of variable depth, which differ from the material below in morphology, physical makeup, chemical properties and composition, and the biological characteristics. So if we see the soil profile like this, we are having top layer of soil, right? Then we are having different layers like this: subsoil, right? So, and here at the top layer there is a O layer also. O layer means organic layer. So all the organic material that is very, very important for the growth of the plant, that is present here, because there is a litter. Litter is anything which is detached from the tree or the plant, like branches, fruits, flowers, dead leaves. Okay, they are fallen on the surface of the earth, right? And they decay there. So that is litter. Okay, so they decay there and they forms the organic layer to this top layer. So this top layer is having lots of minerals and nutrients that is required for the growth of the plant. Then comes the subsoil. This subsoil is having less amount of organic matter, and later this here it is the parent rock material, rock. Okay, so here in this particular region you can see weathered material, weathered parent material. So the weathering of rocks, here it is a parent rock, and here we can see pebbles along with some soil, and here the pebbles become quite smaller, right? And soil is there. So here is some leaching also, some leaching from the top layer to the subsoil layer, right? So this subsoil layer is having nutrient, but it is less than as compared to this top layer. Top layer is having the very rich in nutrients. So this is the horizon of the variable depth, and it vary from place to place. This soil profile is not constant everywhere, it varies from place to place, right? So the minerals and the organic constituent differentiated into the horizons of variable depth, which differ from the material below in morphology, physical makeup, chemical properties, composition and biological characteristics. So everywhere we will not have this organic layer, right? So the top layer differ from one place to the another, and if there is lots of organic matter, then that top layer will have a sufficient amount of nutrients and organic matter. In the same way, the subsoil also vary from place to place, right? So it is therefore the upper loose layer of the earth crust which is rich in nutrients and minerals on which the plants grow and depends for the nourishment. So this is the upper loose layer of the earth crust. Very, very important. Upper loose layer of the earth crust, right? Soil genesis, very important. Transformation of rock into the agricultural land is called as a soil formation or the soil genesis. So formation of soil is also called as soil genesis. So earlier there is a rock, right, and it changes to soil, and that's suited for the formation of actually the agriculture land, and it is required for the growing crop plants. So the weathered material of rock further undergoes changes and results in the formation of agriculture land, right? So the weathered material of the rock further undergoes changes. Okay, so I have just now discussed that there is a rock, then there is a pieces of rock, then there is a pebbles, right? Then there is a soil along with small pebbles, and then there is a proper soil, right? So the weathered material of rock further undergo changes, moving from this to this. There are lot of changes, and it is not a very instant process. It take a lot of time, right? And results in the formation of agriculture land. So when it reaches to this soil, this reaches to for the formation of agricultural land. It is a very, very slow process. 5 factors responsible for the soil genesis, that is climate changes, temperature changes, okay? So that brings change in the properties of rock. That is the parent material. So formation of soil also depend what type of rock it is, okay? Topography, plants and animals, life, and also very important, time. So it is a time taking process. So these are the 5 factors that determines the soil genesis: climate, parent material, topography, plants and animals, life, and time. On an average, soil composition consists of minerals 45%. So the 45% of the soil is composed of minerals. Organic matter, that is around 5%. Water and air, which are interchangeable, that is 20 to 25%. Right? So this is also a major constituent of the soil, water and air. Beside, a number of organisms thrive in the soil. So there are so many organisms: bacteria, worms, different types of worms are there, right? Bacteria are there. Other microorganisms like fungi also present in the soil. The organisms that thrive in the soil include rodents, worms, insects, snails, snakes, microorganisms such as fungi, bacteria, actinomycetes, algae, etc. So there are so many microorganisms to the some large animals like rodents, snails, snakes, right? These are also present in the soil, and they also invest a lot of material, okay, in the formation of soil. Okay, so that also determine the chemical and the physical and the biological properties of the soil, the presence of these organisms. Importance of soil. So we all know that soil is very important for the growth of the plants, and here we are studying the agriculture, then it is for crop. So soil provides essential nutrients to the plants for the growth and development. So all the material that is required for the growth and development of the plant we get from soil. It supports the growing plants by firmly holding their roots. Okay, so it supports the plant by holding all the roots of the plants, hold the soil tightly, and it holds the moisture and water for longer time. It serves as a habitat for the number of organisms, including microorganisms. So it serves as a habitat for many number of organisms. We have just in the previous slide just saw that what are the different organisms that live inside the soil. So that is the habitat. That is the habitat of the organism. It provides heat, air and water to the organism growing in or over it. It is the most important natural resource of our country or any country. Now, properties of soil, very important. Soil can be identified or classified according to the various characteristics exhibited by it. So we are going to see what are the different characteristics that exhibited by the soil. The properties of soil are helpful in understanding the nature and the kind of soil. So if you are determining the properties of soil, right, then you are going to understand the nature and the kind of soil. What kind of soil it is? What is its nature? If you know the properties of that particular soil. So to know the nature and the kind of soil, it is very important to know the properties of soil. The properties of soil can be categorized as a physical, chemical and biological. So if we know the physical properties of soil, chemical properties of soil and the biological properties of soil, then we can know the nature of the soil, the kind of the soil, and on the basis of that we can know what type of crop that can be grown in this particular soil. So it is very important to know the physical, chemical and biological properties of the soil. So let us know first one, the physical properties of the soil. Physical properties of the soil. The first one, soil color. The soil surface generally show black, yellow, red and gray hues. So if we see the surface of a soil, either it is a black in color, yellow in color, red in color or sometimes gray in color. The color of the soil is due to the parent rock material from which it has been formed. So depending upon from which parent rock material it has been formed, the color of the soil is that. Right? So the organic matter that has been added or present in that soil, and also the types of mineral present in it. So on the basis of that, the color of the soil you can determine. The color of the upper layer of the soil may be different from its other layers. The color of the soil is an indicator of the organic matter present in it. Soil fertility, soil pH, drainage, aeration and the organism living in it. So it is very, very important to know the color of the soil, right? So it indicates how much organic matter is present in it. What is the soil fertility? What is the soil pH? What is the drainage and aeration? And also the type of organism living in it. That depends on the color of the soil. Munchal soil color chart give the values of the degree, intensity and purity of soil color. Next is the soil texture. So after soil color, soil texture. So it refers to the proportion of the different size of the particle. Size of the particle determines the soil texture. Whether it is a sand, whether it is a silt or clay that comprise the soil. So soil according to the particle size can be classified as sandy, silty, loamy and clay. So depend upon the particle size of the soil, right? It can be classified as sandy soil, silty soil, loamy and clay. Big size particle present in the soil are known as sand. If the particle size are quite big, right, so it is called as sand. So soil texture is very, very important. Different types of soil are classified, that is sand, silt, loamy and clay, on the basis of soil texture. The diameter of the sand particle is 0.222 millimeter. When the size of the soil particle is between 0.2 to 0.002 millimeter, it is called silt. So this is very, very important for the examination point of view. Question can be asked on this. Okay, so the clay is the finest particle having the diameter less than 0.002 millimeter. Loamy and clay soils have the adequate water holding capacity and are more suitable for the cultivation of crops. So which of the following crop is more suitable? That is loamy and clay soil. Loamy and clay soil, this is the best for growing or cultivation of crops. Porosity, third physical property, porosity. So the particle of the different size are present in the soil, right? Soil particles are different, and just now in the previous slide we have seen when the soil particle aggregate, some hollow space are formed between them, right? So these are the soil particles, and we can see there are some space between these particles, right? So that is called as the hollow space. So this interparticle space in the soil is called as pores. So these are the pores. Interparticle, but the space between the two particles, the interparticle space in the soil are called as pores, which help carry air and the water to plants and other organisms growing in it. So in these pores, what is present? Air is present, water is present, and also organisms, different microorganisms are also present. The quantity of the size of the pores show the porosity of the soil. So this porosity of the soil depends upon the size of pores. Soil having big and large number of pores is called porous soil. The soil is called porous when it is having large number and big sizes of the pores. Means the space is quite bigger. Such soil is adequate drainage and the aeration capacity. So this pores is good as they contain lot of air in it and also lot of water. So that soil is good for growth of the plant. So soil having small but more number of pores show better water holding capacity. So that means that the water is available for the growing crops. Soil with small and less number of pores are called non-porous soil. Non-porous soil means no air is present, no water is present, or less water is present. So such soil is a water stagnant and is not suitable for the cultivation. Okay, the percentage of pore space, that is 100 into bulky density divided by the particle density into 100. Soil density, fourth is soil density. Soil consists of various particles, right? So we are having different types of particles that is present in the soil. It has certain percentage of pores, space through which air and water movement take place. So depending upon the particle size of the soil, we are having different pores space that is present in the soil, right? So the air and the water movement takes place between these pores. So the density of the soil denotes the weight of the soil per unit volume. So how much soil is dense, that define the soil density. So the density of the soil denote the weight of the soil in the per unit volume. So it is of two types, particle density and bulk density. Now, what is the particle density? The particle density refers to the actual density of the soil solid. Okay, so this is the actual density of the soil. It is defined as mass per unit volume of the solid soil only. So we are not considering the space, we are just considering the solid soil. So the particle density of the soil gets decreased with increase in the organic matter content of the soil. So if we are increasing the organic matter in the soil, it means the soil percentage is getting decreased, right? So that is mostly soil have the particle density of about 2.6 gram per cubic centimeter. So this is one of an average soil particle density, right? Bulk density, another type of density is the bulk density. So it refers to the weight per unit volume occupied by solid soil as well as pore space in the soil. So earlier in the particle density, only the soil particles are considered. Here it is we are considering the pore space also and the soil particle space also. Okay, so it is expressed as a gram per cubic centimeter, and soil have low bulk densities have better physical conditions. Low bulk density, the soil which is having low bulk density, it is having better physical condition. Soil consistency, next fifth one is soil consistency. The soil consistency is the potential of the soil to change the shape or molding when moist. So it also ensures the resistance of soil particle to crushing or pulverizing action by the implements when dry. So the soil consistency is the potential of soil to change the shape, how the soil change its shape or mold, okay, when get moist. So that is the soil consistency. Soil consistency help in knowing the tilth. Knowledge about soil consistency is necessary to understand the soil texture in order to perform tillage operation. So this is very important. If you know the soil consistency, then only you are knowing about the soil texture, and that is going to help in tillage operations. Soil structure. Soil structure denote varying shapes and the arrangements of the particles, sand, silt and clay, right? So if you know the soil structure, then you are knowing the different types of soil structure or the particles of that is sand, silt and clay, right? To form the lumps or aggregate. What type of aggregate sand will form, what type of aggregate silt will form, or what type of aggregate clay will form. Okay, so the soil structure may be columnar, prismatic, blocky, platy, laminar, granular or the crumb. So sand, silt and clay aggregate, and this can form these different types of soil structure. So soil structure can be modified by the various soil management practices such as tillage, manuring, limbing, crop rotation and irrigation. So we can modify this soil structure, okay, by the different operations or the soil management practices like tillage, manuring, limbing, crop rotation and irrigation. So here are the different soil structure. Just now we have discussed granular, you can see the shape, grumb, play laminar, prismatic, massive, columnar and blocky. So these are the aggregates of the sand, clay and silt, and this can be modified, right, by the different soil management like tillage, crop rotation, okay, and also the limbing and manuring. Soil temperature. Soil temperature is regulated by the sun and helps in the decomposition of organic material present in it, right? So soil temperature, it can be regulated by, this is the ultimate source of heat, that is sun, and that determines the temperature. So it helps in the decomposition of organic matter present in it. Very, very important. So this temperature factor is very important as it decomposes the organic matter present in the soil. So the various factors such as color, slope, moisture level and the vegetation on the soil affect the soil temperature. So these are such as color, slope, moisture, all are there are different factors, right, that affect the soil temperature. Low as well as high soil temperature is harmful for crops. Low temperature of soil is also harmful, and as well as the high temperature. The growth of the crop slows down as the temperature falls below 9 degrees centigrade and ceases when it reaches to 50 degrees centigrade. Microorganisms present in the soil are active when the temperature is around 27 to 32 degrees centigrade. So this is about the soil temperature. So this is all about this session. We will have one more session to complete this, to know about the chemical as well as the biological properties of the soil. Till then, thank you very much.